I'm just here to have fun and I'm gonna die. So why not try my best, let bygones be bygones, and talk some shit with Gabe.
Jermaine Cheatham helps solopreneurs master freedom by mastering their sales mindset.
If you're working more than 4 hours a day, you're working on the wrong things. From that acknowledgement, you'll figure out what is the smallest, simplest step I can take now to get me a little bit closer to getting over my fear. The sooner you can tackle anything you're fearful of, so that is the 5-prong approach.
Hey, I'm your host, Gabe Marushka with the Solopreneurs Show. Quick one before the episode starts. About 80% of you watching, you didn't hit that follow or subscribe button. If you get any value from this, if the stories we share and the learnings that you get from my guests help you or your business in any way, can you please do me a favor and hit that follow or subscribe button? It helps the show more than you can even imagine, and the bigger the show gets, the better the guest gets. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hey Jermaine, welcome to the Nomad Solopreneur Show.
Thanks, Gabe. It's been a long time coming, man.
Better late than ever. And for those listening, we had quite some technical difficulties here, but so happy to start recording. And I'm happy to have you here because you're all about freedom. And that's the number one value of this podcast when it comes to location, money, and time, especially. I know you arrive at that point. What got you there?
I think freedom is the only thing there is, because if you really think about our existence as humans, what are we here to do? There's really nothing to do. And once you come to that realization, all the striving, all the chasing, all the angst, all the frustration is all self-imposed. And so freedom really, I realized at a young age of 5, 6, 7 years old, is it starts with your mindset. And you have to realize that everything good or bad in your life is built by you and the things you think about and what you believe and the stories you tell yourself. And so for me, freedom started from my mind and getting clear about, what do I want and why do I want it? And then doing what I needed to do to create those things. So I started to disassociate myself from identity as far as, am I good at sales? Am I bad at sales? Do people like me? Do people hate me? Am I an American or am I a human? Am I black? Am I white? Am I a male? Am I female? Am I whatever, right? You are whoever the fuck you want to be. And so that's what freedom is. And so I just chose to choose my own story, and we die. So why would you not go your own way?
Love that. A lot of us, we don't realize that we can actually build our own narrative rather than just go on a path that society or others that are putting labels on us make us go. More often than not, until we have the power to make some decisions, to understand what actually is going around us, we are fed different information from our parents, friends, school, society in general. And we have that huge baggage that we're carrying us in life. And probably teenager years, or some of us even later in life, you realize that, wait a second, I'm not that label. I have the freedom to choose the life that I want to live. How you build that strong mindset and the freedom to choose what you want to do?
Anything is really built. Only things grow when they have no choice but to grow. And so you have to either have your back forced up against a wall, or you create an environment where you put yourself against a wall. And that is really the only way to build an indestructible mindset, is to do the thing that you fear doing the most. Because when you do the thing you fear doing the most, that's where all the fruit is on the other side of that fear. And I always talk about follow your fear, because literally everything you want in your life is on the other side of chasing your fear, instead of avoiding it, hiding from it, and saying, I don't like it. It's just not me. It's not my personality. No, you're just being scared, and you're going to be a very small, weak, unhappy person if you don't face your fears. And I don't mean, I'm not saying like you have to fight them. This is not a fight. This isn't a battle. This is an acknowledgement. Acknowledging, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of going on this podcast. I wonder if I'm going to say something stupid. And once you have the acknowledgement of that, then you can look at it objectively and say, that's a stupid fucking thought because none of this shit matters. I'm just here to have fun and I'm going to die. So why not try my best, let bygones be bygones, and talk some shit with Gabe? It's just reframing stuff. Like when you reframe your life, when you reframe sales, when you reframe your business, when you reframe the world as far as like geographically, you have way more fun.
That's so true. The thing is that facing fear and going out of your comfort zone is for sure the best way to grow. But how we choose the fear that we want to face. Because sometimes people can say, if you want to experience pure freedom, maybe you have to travel in a place that you haven't been before, or you have to taste food that you haven't tried before, or you need to get a job that you never tried before, or whatever. But for me, it's always a challenge to identify which is opportunity and which is just a distraction. And I assume it's the same with fears, like how we choose the fear that you want to face, because most of us have a lot of fears that stop us from achieving probably a goal or a dream. Should we put those together and then choose the fear that you want to go about, or how?
I would say that all distractions are easy. They're easy to do. There's no fear in a distraction. So anytime there's fear about doing something, do that thing. So, and this is a moment by moment, day by day kind of thing. Like literally, oh, I got an email. I don't want to respond to it. Let me go on a walk. Let me, at least type out the draft. I'm not saying send it, but type off the draft, then go on a walk. And maybe you can think about it and see, maybe you edit this sentence, you edit that sentence. But the sooner you can tackle anything you're fearful of, you start to exponentially grow and make progress towards your goals in a fraction of the time, because most people are just turning on Netflix or going to do a cold bath or going to whatever. There's different levels of distraction. You can drink a fifth of vodka, or you can go to the dry sauna. The dry sauna is probably a wiser choice, but it's still a distraction regardless, because you're postponing something you need to do. Now, there is a fine line between contemplation on making a wise decision and procrastination. So the way I think about fear and how I internalize it is, anytime I'm fearful of doing something that I know is good for me and will make me grow, is when I have to act on that as soon as possible. And if you're tapped into yourself and you trust yourself, because you've done enough things in your life that on the other side of that fear and then that action is joy, fruit, and being proud of yourself. Once you start to get familiarized with that process, you'll recognize the fear, you'll take action, you'll feel good. And this is a snowball effect of success builds on success. And fear is just like the most precious gift we have to have joy and fulfillment in our life. But most of us just ignore or hide or mask the fear.
Yeah, true. And sometimes we just postpone it and postpone it. And I did that before starting my nomad journey 5 years ago. It took me 1 year to get that courage, to face that fear. Because, yeah, it was fear of unknown, fear of leaving everything behind, friends, family. The fear of unknown, it's probably one of the most common ones. But even if I knew the benefits of that lifestyle, I talk with so many people that are embracing that, and they are going and living that dream for so many. I was still afraid to jump, and it took me 1 year. Did I do it? Yes. I regret waiting 1 year? No. I learned a lot of things about me. But now, as you mentioned, I learned down the road, and of course, other fears popped up. It's moving to another country, different cultures, different customs and everything. And every single fear that I faced made me stronger, teach me how to identify those patterns. And I know that you've been to countless countries. I don't even know the number. How often do you still face fear when you experience a new thing or a different culture?
I face fear every day, and you can't force the flower to open. So I don't believe in regret, and you're right where you're supposed to be. So if it's not the time, it's not the time. It's just being aware that, yes, I'm fearful and I'm not ready yet. Just that acknowledgement enough is enough. Because from that acknowledgement, you'll figure out what is the smallest, simplest step I can take now to get me a little bit closer to getting over my fear. For example, I had a fear of social media. It was just like, I don't understand the point of it until I realized, oh, it's a great tool for business. But I was still apprehensive. Okay, I'm just going to put my thoughts and my life into the ether. And I hesitated. I waited, like you were saying. And then I said, okay, what's the easiest, smallest, simplest, safest first step? Let me just post on LinkedIn. It's a professional network. So you get your foot in the door, and then next thing you know, okay, I'll post on Instagram because you start getting confidence. I'll post on TikTok, I'll post on YouTube. And so it's just find the smallest, quickest, easiest, most doable action you can do, and you'll start to gain momentum. You don't have to eat the elephant in one bite. And most people have this kind of all or nothing mind state. We're just looking at chipping away at the bricks. We're doing the Michelangelo, method where you just take a little bit of time, and then you make masterpieces. And that's all it is. But we want it now. We want it instantly. And that sabotages our progress for today.
Yeah, so true. And after you put the first brick to make the first step, and either your fear is crapping you down or an imposter syndrome kicks in. For example, with social media, I had that a lot. Who I am to tell my opinion, or who I am to be an expert in that field, even that I've been in that more years than others, or the comparison trap that is on social media. How did you face those? Maybe someone listening is that situation in which I thought about posting on social media. I thought about sharing my story, experience, knowledge, but I'm facing this fear of putting that foot in the door and actually make that step.
Yeah, the smartest thing to do is get around people that are already doing the thing that you want to do. Because you'll realize when you talk to them, and maybe you're posting like once a week, just something that's really not your opinion, just a repost, for example. When you get around people that are actually posting their opinions, you'll realize they're no smarter, no more intelligent, no more savvy than you are. And you start to realize if they're doing it, I can do it. And actually, I have more to say about a particular topic. And it's just, you are and you become who you listen to and hang around with, regardless if it's a physical person or a book or a podcast or an idea. The more you can plant seeds of growth and of abundance thinking and reframing and zooming out to the galaxy and realize we're just a speck of dust on nowhere, just spinning around, going nowhere. And you'll say, this is stupid that I'm fearful of this, just because of tribalism, just because of our DNA of being a human over 10,000 years, where we think, oh, we're going to die if we're pushed out of the tribe. You ain't going to die. You can live by yourself the rest of your life, not talk to nobody, and you'll be just fine. So it's just kind of reframing stuff, and hang around people that are positive and think from a different lens. And then you'll have the confidence to take those first baby steps.
Absolutely. And surrounding yourself with those that, as you mentioned, that are already doing what you want to do is definitely the smart way to do it. It's a shortcut to anything in life. And speaking of that, I know that you help others master freedom by mastering their sales mindset. How your approach is different from others?
My approach is simple. And most people selling, coaching, consulting, they want to make it complex because they get paid on complexity. You have to always remember, what are the incentives here? What Follow the money and you'll know why people do what they do. The longer, it's no different than a counselor. They don't want to cure you of your problem. They want you to come back week in, week out. Same thing with doctors, same thing with the medical industry, same thing with sales or marketing. They want you always to need them. The people I work with, I don't want you ever to need me, if at all possible, to be honest with you, because I want you to be self-sufficient on your own. And so the way I think about life, business, and sales, to me, that's all there is. And because without sales, there is no business. And without sales, you can't build a life of your dreams. And so the way I approach this is fivefold. It's, first of all, you have to know, what do you want specifically? It can't be fuzzy. Fuzzy targets don't get hit. Number two is, why do you want this? Because most people are operating from the lens of I want things because my family wants it for me, or my friends want it for me, or it's what everyone in my country wants, or you're brainwashed into not really going after what you want. So that's number two. Why do you actually want this? And then number three, in one of the most important things when you talk about business and sales, is what are you going to sell? And most people want to sell two things, three things, four different offers, five different offers. You have to be focused. So it has to be one thing. Now, you might have three offers behind the one thing. That's fine. That's upsells. That's other things, right? But you never talk about those other things. You talk about one thing, the lead domino. So that's number three. What are you going to sell? The single thing. That's your lead domino, okay? And then from there, number four is who are you going to sell it to? Because you can't have five different audiences. You can't have four, you can't have three, you can't have two, you have to have one. So who is your ideal target audience? Is it plastic surgeons in California? Like specific. And the more selective you are in your target audience, the more lucrative your offer becomes. Because if you're targeting plastic surgeons in California versus plumbers in Boise, depends on what you're selling, you might have a little bit of different income stream. So that's number four. Who are you selling to? One person, one avatar. And then lastly is how are you selling your offer? And this is kind of the twist, the way I think about it, is you never ever sell to the doctor in California. You never sell directly to the plumber in Boise. What you do is you strategically create partnerships with people that have a network of those doctors or a network of those plumbers and already have their trust. So they bring you into the fold and they refer you your deals because psychologically, people trust people that trust other people. It's just the way it works. I mean, you meet so many people. It's so interesting. You ask them about how they met their spouse. Oh, it was a friend. Oh, it was someone I met at church. Yeah, no shit. Because you trust the people that are in that network. It's just psychology. It's not rocket science. Business sales is science and it's art. This is the science part. So use referral networks, use strategic partnerships, and then it eliminates the need for selling, marketing, or branding because your referral partners do that all for you. You don't have to say shit. They just sign. So that is the 5-prong approach. And it's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's singular in focus on each and every aspect of the 5-prong wheel.
Love it. And you speak my language with few exceptions that I'll address there. But I build my business like that on partnerships. I stumble upon the concept of halo effect, or some people listening might refer to as Oprah effect, by associating yourself with an individual that already is trustworthy, it's already having a big audience or your target audience, is the easiest way to arrive to them. You don't have to build a big following or a big audience yourself. Of course, that's a huge asset and it's great to have. But if you're just starting out, or even if you're not just starting out, you're someone that has a great service, a great offer, delivering great results, why not put that in the front of those that need through someone that those people trust? And partnership marketing, because that's marketing too, partnership marketing, it's one of the probably most underrated ways to build a sustainable business in which everyone wins. I sometimes even go as far as offer incentivize to those that refers me, because that makes them refer me easier, faster, because they get something as well in return. But only with one condition: make sure that those individuals are actually someone that real trust you and your services, not just someone on the street that has my audience, have not tried my product or service, but they just want to make an extra a month or something. And you mentioned there that to focus only on one offer, and I'm totally agree with that. But for those that are struggling with that, what would be your advice to narrow down to that specific thing they want to sell first and foremost, to build that trust with their audience before they upsell to other services or products they might have. How do you choose that?
The easiest way, because it's easy, you are the ideal customer, you are the avatar, you are the product. So you already have a skill and expertise in something. My skill and expertise is in selling, and really the skill is referral partnerships. I've leveraged that and I've mastered it. So that's what I sell. So I know it. I'm an expert in it. And I am the avatar because this is actually something I would buy. If someone said, "Hey, Jermaine, will help you get better at doing referral partnerships," I'd be like, "Yeah, tell me more. I would love to hear a different angle. Like, you have a different angle about this? Tell me more." So, like, just think about your business and what you want to sell from, okay, what do I already know? What am I already good at? What do people already pay me for? Or what would people pay me for? And then what would I also pay someone else to teach me about? Because you'll have passion. You'll enjoy it. That's it. And it's find the one thing, and that's the lead domino. And then once you push over that domino and you start making money and you start having some success, then other doors are going to open up where you can see other opportunities. And you can be very selective about what the next domino you want to add on to that. But just start with yourself. Just you have to be reflective and figure out, okay, what am I good at? What do people ask me for? What do I spend my money on? And what would I spend my money on? Okay, I'm going to offer X or X. It's just, I think, especially in today's day and age, we're so distracted. There's so much information, just a fire hose to the face of information. And no one takes the time to unplug and to have time away to think, to actually talk to themselves, not from a negative lens, but like from working through, okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense, and write it down. And I spend half of my day doing that. I work in the morning. I call it win before noon. I'm very focused for 4 hours. And after that, I don't do shit unless I want to, because I'm going to go to the beach. And after this, I'm going to the beach. For me, to be fair, this is not work. This is play. This is fun. But like, you need space to figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working. Let's reflect, let's iterate, and let's test this tomorrow during my 4 hour time block. And then I'll do it again the next day. And as you have this iteration process, but you can't iterate unless you're taking action. That's where I would start.
When you take yourself as the avatar, you probably already solve some problems for yourself. You encounter some problems, you solve them, you know how to solve those. And what would be easier than teach others or show others how to solve the same problem? Because almost certain someone just few months behind you or few years behind you have the same problems that you used to have. And the second thing that you mentioned there, that space for you to actually think, to not get distracted or influenced by the opinion of others, the next shiny object that might come your way. It's one of the most productive and also well actionable things you can do, because when you're just you and your thoughts, without a phone, without book in your ears or in your hands or a podcast or whatever, you actually can make decisions without the influence of others. And that's powerful. Yeah, we need to ask for help and get direction. That's a shortcut. But when you have the information and the time to think and make your own assumptions and decisions, and as you mentioned, iterate, test, see what works, what doesn't, then you actually have traction and implement the right things in your life, business, and so on. And you mentioned as well that this is just a play for you. How long it took to arrive at this point when what you do is just a game, is just the life that you choose and the path that you actually want to walk on, rather than someone that is, oh, you should go on that way if you want to make money, or should go on that way if you want to be happy, or so on. How many years and experiences got you here?
I mean, ultimately, you have to trust yourself. And so I've realized that from a very young age. So I have to trust myself. And when you look at life from that lens, you see other people in the world doing things. This is a great litmus test on what you should be focusing on. If you don't know what to do, the litmus test is, and this was always my litmus test, is when I saw other people doing something, whether a job or whatever, and it made me mad, where I thought to myself, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're not doing it right, and I can do it way better than them. That's the direction you should be going. And so when I got into, as a young kid, I got into sports. I was like, I can do this way better than these kids. I'm going to slaughter them. And so like sports got me into this mindset of I trust myself and I'm better than that person. And so sales kind of got me into that trust where it's like these bozos, if they're making sales, I can make sales. And so then you get on the internet and you see people getting followers or making sales on the internet. And you're like, if they can do it, I can do it. So it's nothing's new under the sun. No one's that much smarter or that much dumber than you. It's just a matter of, are you resourceful? Do you have a system? Do you have a little bit of discipline? And then when you're not being disciplined, do you have fun? Because you're going to burn out if you're not having any fun and you don't have any clarity and direction about where you're going. So it's not one moment made this my mind the way it is. It's the culmination of me making myself proud because I did the thing I said I was going to do that day. And I go to bed and I feel good about myself. And it's a snowball effect because then tomorrow I wake up and I feel good about what I can do today. It's just a self fulfilling prophecy, really. And too many of us, and I've fell into this trap too, where you get into a pattern, a habitual. These are just habits where you start to go the wrong direction. And a month later, you gain 20 pounds, you're not making cold calls, you're not making any money. And you're like, oh, you have to catch yourself and be like, okay, time for me to get back in line. Let's do this. And so it's no different than a plane going from LAX to JFK. It's going to be off track 99% of the time, but it still knows where it's going. That's just life. And so know that nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's going to work out your way. And even the good days will be followed by a bad day. So don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just have fucking fun because it doesn't matter. And I would also think a big part of my perception is I got very familiar with death at a young age. And so when you get familiar with death and you don't know, how long life will last and what's all this about, you start to think about your time here differently and you have a different level of gratitude for the opportunity. Like we're alive right now. This is crazy. We get to experience this crazy world, this technology. I can travel and live anywhere I want, work anywhere I want. This wasn't even possible 10 years ago because there was no Airbnb, there was no Uber. The technology wasn't quite there yet. So when you zoom out and you say, damn, this is awesome, then posting on LinkedIn or Instagram is not a big fucking deal. Trolls are not a big deal because if you realize that, you know that hurt people. So they're not going to hurt me or you because they're the ones hurting. They're not going to transfer that energy if you're aware of what's going on. And that's sales 101.
Yeah, true. And you mentioned something there, especially about haters, trolls, and so on. Usually, it's their own issues reflecting through their behavior. And that's interesting because when I first thought about posting on social, I was afraid of that. I was afraid of what others will say. What if someone says something bad about it? It will affect me in any way. And of course, I get a bunch of feedback or different opinions, but that's normal. That's life. And you learn from that because you learn from any other people perspective. And speaking of that, I would like to have a small debate with you because I was in sales as well, and I fucking hate cold calling. I was working in a call center in which I was calling the competitors of that company to convince them to come to us. It was a fucking hard thing, but I was somehow quite good at it. But when I exited that thing, I was like, whatever I'll do in my life, I don't want to rely on cold calling. And guess what? I didn't do a single cold call since then, and I run for 14 years my business right now. And how you can embrace that if you hate it so much? It's fear too, of course, but how will you choose that to go? Let's have a cold call right now to try to close the deal or try to get some my foot in the door.
So I did cold calls, 300 cold calls a day for years. So I'm very comfortable with being uncomfortable. The way I always reframed it, because I struggled for so long, is the reframe is two things. One, I'm not here to sell or convince. I'm here to serve. And it starts with belief. You have to believe in whatever you're selling. So if I believe in which I did believe that if they chose to work with me, I would serve them better than anybody else in the world. And they are actually missing out and too bad for them if they say no to me. So that's one reframe. So it's more about service than pleasing. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to serve you. So I'm going to be direct and I'm going to be serious. But here's the second part. I'm here to have fun. So I'm going to crack jokes. I'm going to be light. I'm not going to be defensive. I'm going to just Be lighthearted. And it changes because you remember sales is just an energy exchange. And the person that has the most energy, negative or abundant energy, wins. And so I would just go into the calls being a place of service, a place of I know I'm the one that can help them better than anybody else. Because number one, they'll get what they want, they'll sell more, they'll have fun, not only in the future working with me, but also in this call right here, right now. Those two things is all you need. And then you're not so serious about the outcome, about them hanging up on you. And the chances are they never hang up on you when you come from that angle of service and fun. They're like, I actually enjoy talking to this person. Like the whole goal is to give them an experience. Crack some jokes, have some fun, talk some shit. Because especially if you know your target, this is so important. You have to know who you're talking to. Many people, they sell to everybody. They don't know who they're talking to. So if you know who you're talking to, like I talk to other salespeople. So I know how other salespeople are because I'm the avatar. Makes it easy. So don't try to sell to someone you don't know who they are, how they operate, or how they think. So those are my two little tips: is just serve and then have fun.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I wasn't doing that. I was just some guy working for a company, a product that I didn't trust. I knew was worse than the one that they have. And that's why I was struggling. How can I convince someone to buy something and I do believe in? I don't use it myself. I was actually using the service of the other company. And yeah, it was just a mismatch of things there. And for those listening that want to apply these principles in order to get clients, grow a business, what would be the steps to go in order to arrive at the point that they are getting constant revenue without the feast and famine cycle?
You have to go through those 5 steps I talked about. You got to get clear on what you want, why do you want it, what you're selling, the one thing you sell, and you should be the avatar for that. And then who are you selling it to? One specific type of person, and then find partners that have that person's trust. And don't talk to the person you're trying to sell to, talk to the person that has all their trust and figure out a way for all three of you to win because the incentive structure has to be aligned for all three of you. I'm not into the idea of affiliate marketing because the incentive structure is only, I'll give you a little piece if you tell someone about my thing. The problem with that is you're not really top of mind. And it's so hard to find someone that's loyal, that's really going to talk to people about your product all the time. It's very rare. I'm giving you a little inside secret here. So, what you do is you align whatever you want to sell with whatever they're selling. So, when they sell their thing, your thing helps them sell their thing. Does that make any sense? For example,
Yeah, perfect sense.
so if you're a weight loss coach, instead of trying to find people that want to lose weight, which is almost impossible to figure out who wants to lose weight because even fat people don't want to lose weight, you find people that would have people in their network that want to lose weight. Maybe there's a few examples, like a dating coach, right? Dating coaches' clients probably want to look their best for their dates. So what you would do is offer them free weight loss or fitness training for their clients. So the dating coach gets goodwill and gets to tell their client, not only when you work with me do you get to get awesome dates, but you also get to lose weight. I get you in shape for free because I have a fitness trainer. And so that win situation is your dating coach brings you all the clients you could ever want. You give them the training for free. And after 30 days, they sign up because they don't want to lose 5 pounds. They want to lose 50 pounds. They're going to sign up for your 6-month program. So the dating coach does all the selling, plus it helps them sell their dating services because it's a value add to them too. So that's what I mean by the alignment. Once the alignment's completely set up, because then the client's happy, they lose weight, they get the guy or the girl, everybody fucking wins. So you have to line it up that way. And I'm telling you, you get 90% of your time back. You don't have to sell. You don't have to market, except for become friends with the dating coach. You don't have to have a brand. You don't have to even post really if you don't want to. This is all DMs. This is all creating relationships. Nobody uses this. Nobody does this. It's crazy because I found out about this in my business because I was doing the cold calls. I was trying to find doctors that needed my financial services. And I was like, this is stupid. This is impossible. So I just partnered with medical device salespeople because my financial services help them sell their devices. It's a win. I literally would only work an hour or two a day because they would just bring me deal after deal, and the doctors would just sign because they trusted the sales rep because they're buying the piece of equipment from the sales rep, so they bring me in. It's already a done deal. I'm telling you guys, it's just crazy that people are banging their heads against the wall, thinking they need to get a new logo or a new brand or a new name of their business or a marketing plan. No, just be strategic. It's easy.
Yeah, true. And it works. You're the proof. I'm the proof. When I started my business, I knew no one. And I just partnered with an agency that were doing SEO for their clients. I knew how to build websites, and they win because they could offer that service as well. Of course, put something on top. Or they were able to provide SEO services for their clients because they had a website on which to build SEO services on. It was a win-win for all three of those individuals. And yeah, that's the thing. Like partnerships are another way. And I also always ask myself, and when I talk with clients, I ask them why you don't leverage this. Why aren't you building relationships with someone? Indeed, you need a creative way of thinking about it because the example that you mentioned is not obvious. It's not obvious that you could, as a weight losing coach, to be partnering with a dating coach. It's not, oh, maybe they thought about partnering with a nutrition expert. Of course, that can be good partnership, but are two very hard habits to build there: eat healthy and exercise. But there is no, let's say, pleasure in it. But when you pair the pleasure activity of dating with something that is healthy for you, like better diet or a better exercise routine, then you have a win there. And you're a one-man show, or do you have employees?
Just me.
And you're working, you mentioned, around 4 hours of focus work a day. How much time it took you to arrive at this stage in which you're able to do that without needing to rely on others?
When I was an employee, I spent 12 hours a day, and probably 8 to 9 hours of that time was a waste. I was spinning my wheels. And I think that's most people. And so then when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I knew where the leverage points were. And that's this whole partnership thing we're talking about. And so as a solopreneur, I've always only worked 4 hours a day. Now, as far as like a focused block on my single highest leverage activity, if I choose to work outside of that, that's fine. But once I call it win before noon. So once 12 noon hits, I get up and go to the beach or go on a long walk or go to the gym or whatever. And then I might come back and do a little bit more. But I've always been hyper focused on where's the leverage? Where is the leverage? And to go back to what you were saying about the nutrition coach partnering with the weight loss coach or the fitness coach, the problem that most people don't think about strategically, they don't understand the psychology of a human. The nutrition coach is going to be fearful. The weight loss coach or the strength training coach is going to take their client because they offer too close of a service. A dating coach is not scared that the fitness coach is going to take their client because the fitness coach knows nothing about how to get them dates. So you have to make sure who you partner with has a totally different kind of business because there's going to be not that human fear of I might lose my clients to this person. Literally I might get stabbed in the back. Like you were saying, it's a strategy, and some people just don't think naturally about this. That's why it's important to have coaches and consultants to be like how the saying goes. It's hard to read the ingredients from inside the jar because you're just too close to the product. Like the fish doesn't know it's in water. And so it's always helpful to get outside perspectives. But back to your original point is I've always done this 4 hour thing because I just know focus is where the gold is at. And there's no reason to be working all day because I know if you're working more than 4 hours a day, you're working on the wrong things. There's no more than one, two, maybe three things you should do in any given day. And usually it's just one thing.
Yeah, that's true because working 12 hours a day is just procrastinating. It's not meaningful work, and you end up in a position in which you just spin your wheels and zero progress. And I assumed your high level activity it's serving your clients and finding partnerships, or you focus on something else.
No, that's not high level activity. That's just fun. That's just play. I just do the coaching calls. So I just do coaching and consulting calls for an hour, and that's not work to me. It's just that's like us talking right here. That's easy. That's not really where the leverage is. The leverage is for me, or in this stage of my career, is LinkedIn DMs and in creating content. So If I'm going to spend 4 hours, I'm going to spend 3 hours in LinkedIn DMs, starting conversations. And most people don't know how to do this. Because you get these DMs, so it's a paragraph. Hello, how are you doing today? My name is Todd. I'm from Nebraska and I have a business on da da da. Nobody's fucking reading that shit. I can't believe people are doing this shit. So, anyways, that's I got on a tangent. So the DMs are 3 hours of the four, and then the last hour would be content. So either, I mean, I usually split it between like YouTube or my newsletter or LinkedIn because I can write a LinkedIn post in 10 minutes. And ChatGPT makes life so easy too. And that's it, really. And then the rest of the day, like if I want to, have coaching calls or talk to you on podcasts, and this is another prime example of leverage. You have an audience. Your audience trusts you. So when you bring me onto the show, they might trust me. They might like me. Some may not. But the point is, get in front of people's audiences that might buy your stuff. It's easy.
Yeah, definitely. It's not rocket science. And this worked for the dawn of time. Businesses and empires were built like that on trust and on other audiences being together. And in theory, it's so easy. But as you mentioned, you need to have the right guidance because even your own thing, at what you excel, you still need sometimes a different perspective because you might be too close to the matter in order to understand that, oh, shit, I'm the bottleneck in my own business or my own thing, my own life, because I don't see that small thing there that is stopping me from growing or living the way I want. And speaking of advice and guidance, how can those listening get in touch with you in order to work with you?
Yeah, before I touch on that, I want to touch on one other idea I was thinking about is there's just because you're a solopreneur doesn't mean you can't use Fortune 100 companies strategies. And they use these strategies every day. For example, I don't know if you ever read the book Shoe Dog. It's from Phil Knight about Nike. His entire empire is based on strategic partnerships. And he made one strategic decision which built his company, which was with Michael Jordan. Do the same thing. Same thing with, now this is not confirmed, so this is just me hypothesizing, is the NFL, I think, realized they were having a trouble with a certain demographic watching NFL football, American football. I think they somehow under the table started talking to Taylor Swift because her demographic was not watching football. Now they are. That's probably, I don't know, 500 million people now that are now watching football games. I think something happened under the table. But my point is, I think the NFL partnered with Taylor Swift, the referral partner, right? So just pay attention to what's happening in the world. And all this stuff is documented, which is great. There's books about it. There's just watch TV, just watch, go in the world, you'll see it. Use that in your solopreneur business. If people want to get in touch with me, LinkedIn is a great place. YouTube's a great place. They can go to my website, Creators Learn, because you're either a creator or you're a victim. So creators are welcome. And then I have some freebies there. They can reach out, schedule a call with me, and we can go from there and chop it up. I love talking to entrepreneurs. It's just fun. Like I love sales. I love business. I love mindset. I love life because I know it ends. So why not have some fun?
Yeah, that's powerful. And I'll put the links in the show notes as well. And I'd love to wrap things up with a small challenge for those listening that they can apply in less than 1 week to make those first steps in order to be able to put those first bricks to build a life of freedom, time, money, and location. What will be those first steps they can make in less than 1 week?
Okay, so the first thing you do is, I don't care if you're a morning person or not, you wake up early. And the great thing about waking up early is if you have a family, you get up before them. If you're just by yourself, you get up before the sun. And the night before, you write down the highest leverage thing you think you could do. For you write that one thing down. Maybe that's write all your posts on LinkedIn the next day, whatever it is. And as soon as you wake up that next day, set your alarm. And as soon as you wake up, say 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever time you want, just pick a time and stick to it because you're going to make yourself proud that you actually did that. This is the small baby steps of doing things you said you're going to do. You wrote down what you're going to do tomorrow. You woke up at the time you said you're going to wake up. And then what you do is within 2 minutes of opening your eyes, you start on that task. And I don't care if you're foggy, I don't care, whatever. Within 20 to 30 minutes, you'll start waking up and you'll realize that you're in flow and you're making progress. As soon as you wake up, within 2 minutes, you set your timer for 90 minutes. Okay. So you wake up, your eyes open, Within 2 minutes, start your timer for 90 minutes and you work on that one thing for 90 minutes straight. And you might be groggy for the first 20 or 30 minutes. That's fine. But you'll realize after 30 minutes or so, you're just in flow. The reason is your brain didn't have an opportunity because it's still asleep to fight or resist starting. It didn't have a chance to start thinking about it, to making up excuses of why you can't. I do that quite often. If I get into a rut where I can't get started on my 4-hour blocks, I just do that. And then after the 90 minutes, I'm almost halfway done with my 4-hour block and it's 6:30 a.m. The day is my oyster. And so when you do that day in and day out, day in and day out, it becomes habitual and you don't think about the resistance. You just think about doing the thing that you know has the highest leverage to get you where you want to go. You'll move mountains over time. Do that one thing for a week and then do it the next week. Just build healthy habits. It can't be 10 habits. It can't be 5 habits. It has to be like one habit for your business, one habit for your health. Like my health habit is I fast. I fast every day from 18 to 22 hours. And during my feeding window, when I eat whatever the fuck I want, because I have one simple habit. So like structure your business, your life, so it's easy to win. And it just comes down to a little bit of focus, a little bit of practice, a little bit of feeling good about yourself because you did the thing you said you're going to do. That's it.
And the good thing about it is that advice was built actually on science. I read about it, I think, a couple of months ago, and I was blown away because it makes so much sense. If your brain is not already in flight or fight mode, it won't compete with you. When you're already in the flow, you win. You're already doing the work that you probably didn't do if you didn't start right away. I used to have a bad habit in the morning, waking up, preparing breakfast, eating, and after I finished, I was already dead. I was eating shit as well. That's true. A lot of sugar, of course, not direct, but from oats and other stuff. And I couldn't do much after that. But when I stopped eating breakfast in the morning, and as you mentioned, just I wash my face, sit on the laptop, I have my task, I do that, everything changed. And yeah, there are a lot of studies on that note, and it actually works.
Yeah, it works for sure. And then the great thing about it is you have so much clarity because you're just focused. I feel like many times food is a distraction. It's pleasurable. So save the pleasure and the fun and the wine and the champagne for dinner because you did the thing you said you're going to do all day. And then your business grows, you grow, you get muscles, you're not fat, you're happy, you have energy. It's a snowball. It gets better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this episode, man, from the beginning, it just got better and better. Thank you so much, Jermaine, for joining the show. And it was absolute pleasure to have you. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You, yes, you're one of the few that stick to the end. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing so. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so below. And if you got any value from this, please share it with a friend. They might got some value from it as well. Thank you so much, and until next week, pura vida!